In the beginning, the stories, they all belong to the sky god, but the people who lived them, they lamented. For the people of all the worlds, they hungered for their own stories, and I hungered. So I planned, and I was clever, much more clever than the sky god and all who hung on the words. I hung them on the tricky threads of my mischief. Now they say all stories are Anansi's stories. That suits me. Yes, all stories are Anansi's. But on occasion, I share them with the people. Today, I share them with you in Anansi's Tapestry of Lives. Anansi's Tapestry of Lives is a new tabletop role-playing game supplement filled with varied and various non-player characters to populate your game world. Created by Game Masters for Game Masters, Anansi's Tapestry of Lives is overflowing with NPC descriptions, details, and illustration. The NPC voiceover app gives you access to professionally voiced acted introductory monologues for each and every NPC, along with all the NPC details on your phone or tablet. Virtual tabletop tokens for every NPC makes it easy to bring these beloved characters into play on Roll20, The Forge, or your other favorite VTT. For in-person play, Anansi's NPC cards are tarot-sized reference decks. Each card has the NPC image on one side and important details on the other. Anansi's Journal of Commonplaces provides you with richly detailed descriptions that typical adventure books don't cover. When your players stumble into the castle kitchen or are foraging in a wild berry patch on the road, you can describe the scene perfectly. Plus, you're prepared with hidden details should they search the area. All these tools make your life easier while enriching your gameplay experience. And you get access to these and more by backing our Kickstarter campaign. Back us today to bring these tools to your table and bring your stories to life.
The auroral diamond glows with a mahogany light, the color of shadows in the fire, and thick as mud. Welcome, everyone, to Radiant Stories. I'm Lauren Urban. I'm your humble DM for this show, where we're playing through Journeys Through the Radiant Citadel with some absolutely amazing players who will take a moment to introduce themselves right now.
Hey, everybody. I'm Alicia Marie. You can find me on socials at Alicia Marie Body, and I'm a professional costume artist and performing artist. On Monday nights, I'm on Voyagers of the Jump, which is a traveler RPG on the demiplane, on the glass cannon. Ooh, backwards. And on Tuesday nights, Children of Erte with Wisteria here and with Lauren. And on Friday nights, I'm here, of course. Tonight, I'll be playing Ravana Wise, but they call her Cricket. And prepare yourself, she's a wild hunt shifter, grave domain philosophy cleric.
Hi, I am Jen Kretschmer. You can find me on Twitter as DreamWisp. I do all sorts of things. I stream on Twitch as DreamWisp Jen. And today I am playing Wisteria, your friendly spring Eladrin cottagecore bard.
Hi, my name is Kelly. You can find me at the Opera Geek, both on Twitter and here on Twitch, where I do stream on my own channel. And tonight I'm playing the Path of the Totem barbarian. My gosh, what am I playing tonight? It should be Path of the Corn barbarian, but it's unfortunately just barbarian.
Why can't there be corn in your totem?
There should be corn. There should be corn. As long as there's food, I'm good.
Hello, I am Mario, and today I am playing a half-orc soul knife rogue, whose name is Vint Cantor. And I am a writer and sometimes streamer and D&D player. And yeah, you can find me on the internet and on Twitter as Hilarious. Super excited to be here.
And I'm also super excited to be here. You can find me on Twitter as Obolore, and you can find me right here, right now, telling you thank you to our wonderful sponsors that make this show happen. Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms. There should be a code for an Electrum chest floating around somewhere. And the wonderful people here at this channel for Anansi's Tapestry of Lives. Be sure to visit AnansiLives.com to get all the information on that Kickstarter that there was a video for at the beginning of the show. On top of that, we've got giveaways. Yay! So if you're hanging out in chat, we're going to be doing 2 very exciting giveaways today. First, if we hit 500 followers on this channel, we'll be giving away a beautiful set of rainbow metal dice. Everyone listening live has the opportunity to win these, but subscribers to our Twitch have 5 times the chance to win on any of the giveaways we do on this channel, including this one. So when we hit 500 followers, I'll say something real quick in the chat or on the stream. You'll see some instructions in the chat to let you know to enter the command #Radiant. Don't do that until the actual giveaway starts, but that'll be the hashtag. There's one stipulation: you must be a follower of the channel to win. So follow the channel and get yourself a chance to get some amazing rainbow metal dice. On top of that, at the end of the show, we're doing another giveaway, this time for a copy of Journeys to the Radiant Citadel, you know, the book that we all love. Of course, if you already have the book, we'll let you pick something comparable. Don't forget, this is all for followers, but subscribers have 5 times the chance to win. So subscribe now for better odds to win these prizes, as well as some other goodies like, you know, watching without ads. So be sure to hang out for the whole show and after the show so you have a chance to win some great goodies. And now let's begin, like we always do, with a little recap about what happened last time on Radiant Stories. Who wants to go first? Where are we right now?
We are in Promise. Which is in God's Breath. It is a town that is having a festival with all sorts of dancing and crafts and snacks and song. There is a call and response song that everyone is involved in. We picked up some dolls, some mini us dolls.
You got them very nicely customized. A couple of you got dolls for other people. Yeah.
And then we had some farmers who, for some reason, were less than friendly.
Yeah, you got into a fight with some of the locals and were able to knock them out, fortunately. But does someone want to say what was going up with those farmers?
Yeah, they seem to be mind controlled or something. They were carrying rusted tools and they were acting without like focus. But we were able
red
to
handprints around their neck.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right. They had this vacant, sort of haunted look on their faces.
Red eyes. And it turns out they're from a settlement about a day and a half away on foot called the Rattle, where some strange things.
It's about a half a day away.
I'm sorry, half a day.
Half a day.
It's closer than you think. You got the important part, which was the Rattle, which is close by, and there's a reason that you think that these specific farmers came from there. Vint, do you remember what you found on one of the farmers?
Yeah, we found a strange scrawl or a drawing that had depicted a very grim scene of someone crawling out of a lake or some sort of like pit of water, and a hand pulling it like back into it or something like that. And was it Aunt Deli who told us about that?
Exactly.
Deli told us that this was a drawing that might have belonged to her goddaughter, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
Kiana.
Exactly.
Kiana, yes.
Yeah, and we had met a person with a hat named Lady Dre, who was the one who told us that the people were from the Rattle. And then at the very end, we met one of the Proclaimers, one of the people who lead the song, who was the person we were looking for, who was Proclaimer Tungsten Ward. And that is where we left off. Did we forget anything major?
Not that I can think of, but if we think of something else, I'm sure it'll come up.
Well, we met
But
Vint before we left town. That happened.
that's true. You brought a wonderful new friend along who is familiar with God's breath. And anything else anyone wants to bring back up before we dive back into the action?
We asked a Lady Dre with the blue dress stepped in the circle, and we were able, I think Wisteria was talking to her, and we got to ask, and then didn't Proclaimer Tungsten come forward right at the end?
Right at the end. Yeah, you haven't had a chance to ask them anything because I, stopped on a dramatically appropriate moment. And so we're going to pick up a few minutes after that dramatically appropriate moment. The farmers who are still kind of in this, whatever is holding on to their minds, have been taken care of by the locals, found someplace secure and comfortable for them. The crowd has started to disperse, and it's starting to go back to a little bit of a festive atmosphere, but there's certainly a lull now. The brass band that had been playing still haven't come back yet. And you have moved to the side with the two people you were talking with, Lady Dre and Proclaimer Tungsten Ward. Lady Dre has been regaling you with why she thinks you should come with her to the Rattle. And it mostly involves her pulling you to the side and showing off. Now you see, right over there, I have just a lovely cart. Now I know it's only about a half a day of a walk, but if these farmers are anything like what you're going to find at this farmstead, there might be more. There might be more people that we have to help. And having a nice buckboard wagon and 2 strong horses at your command, that's going to make the trip a lot easier. And if you're going to bring the Proclaimer, and I think you should, because they're amazing, and it seems like you need to talk to them about something. I was unsure about that, but better to sit in the back of the wagon and chat than it is to go on foot. Is that right? Is that right? And she looks over at the Proclaimer, who is still smiling and standing there, just waiting for a chance to speak, as Lady Dre has been a little more effusive. And Proclaimer Ward says, I'm interested both in why you were seeking me out, but also what is going on at the Rattle for a variety of reasons. And so if you are going, I would like to come along.
Well, we are definitely going to be going because we need answers for quite a few things. Myself and Cricket's going to gesture to the others and my crew. Specifically you. I know that something happened with my mates here, that your name came up. I was at the House of Convalescence when you came across Tungsten as the name, right, Wisteria?
Oh yes, the Jasper Picantry was telling us that we needed to come and meet you. Back on the Radiant Citadel.
One of the incarnates spoke of me?
Yeah, they seem to think you might be able to help us because there's all sorts of things going on.
Yes, like dark
we
things.
were supposed to ask you specifically about the Song of the Diamond.
And you watch as that, for a moment, their face had kind of been warring between a little bit of a happiness of an incarnate spoke my name and I'm going to be useful to people, and also worry about what's going on. And you say Song of the Diamond and their face falls a bit and they say, that's a very old poem. I don't know that one off the top of my head, but I have, as always, all of my notes with me and all of the books, so I can research that and look it up. But that name does sound very familiar.
Well, the old streets have the deepest roots.
That is true. And while the Awakening song is a wonderful history of our people and God's breath, there are multiple stories that I collect that all have to do with any of the deities who helped bring us here. And while some of them don't end up in the Awakening song because they're for other reasons not associated with God's breath, they are amazing stories in their own right. And I can definitely do a little bit of looking. And they look over at Lady Dre, and you don't mind the use of your cart during this. It is very hard to look through books while walking. And Lady Dre says, no, absolutely. You are all welcome. I would love to hear Song of the Diamond. That sounds fascinating. I would love to give a listen to that if you're going to do that. And we should get going. If we go now, we can probably get there well before dusk. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to encounter anything about those farmers after dark.
Definitely not. Even if you don't know, remember the exact words of the Song of the Diamond. Do you remember what it was about generally?
And
at all?
The Proclaimer takes a moment. If I remember correctly, it's part of a larger work, a very long poem, kind of an epic written from before we came to God's breath, or just around the time we arrived, that is specifically about our civilization as part of the Radiant Citadel before it was lost. The Song of the Diamond refers to the diamond on the Radiant Citadel. I don't know what would be in that story that would be so pressing now, but stories have a way of repeating themselves.
Yes.
So Vint is a rogue, and he's like naturally distrustful of people.
Sure.
So like, I mean, Lady Dre seems very eager to go to this land where horrible things are happening. So I think Vin looks at Ustina and like we make eye contact, like, right?
Yeah, Ustina, you just hear shrink, shrink. She's like just sharpening the giant sword. Just like,
He's always prepared.
Yeah. Can I first make an insight check? Well, sorry, go ahead, Wissa.
Oh, I just also was going to add, should we invite Aunt Deli? Because it's her goddaughter that she's worried about.
Yes, that's right. Should we bring her?
I mean, we can certainly ask.
I think this is perfect. So, Vint, go ahead and roll that insight check, because Wisteria is going to ask this question of Lady Dre, and you'll get a chance to kind of read her response. So when you say that, she says, well, she's certainly welcome to come, but I don't know if she's well enough for the trip. I don't want to speak out of turn, and she has a place in my cart if she wants to, but I don't know if that kind of trip is something she should undertake. And she kind of motions to her hip, like maybe that's a trip that she would have problems actually walking.
But aren't we taking a cart for that reason?
Yes, but if we're going to that farmstead, there's probably going to be some walking. I can only be on the paved road.
Okay.
Vint, what was your insight check?
I rolled the 1.
I knew a space. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
I kind of figured. All right. Vint.
I will
Every-
attempt as well, but first let him explain his one.
Yeah. So, what's going on with that one? Why do you think you fail to read anything more than what she is putting out there? Why?
Yeah. I think so. Overhearing Tungsten talk about how they hold all of these songs from like forever, he got a little distracted with that. It kind of like his mind started wandering to the time he and his family lived here. So like, you know, even though he like kind of like his instinct is drawn to notice this, like his mind is elsewhere, like he can't concentrate on it.
All right.
Yeah,
And
so Stina, since I'd been looking at him, I see him get that far off look, and so I sit there. I sit there and I kind of stare her down, and I stare her down with a 19.
Oh.
All right.
Okay.
With a 19, you see her make this whole explanation. Everything that she has said, she believes. She really wants to help you get to the farmstead. She really is worried about Aunt Deli making the trip. She's really concerned about these farmers and what's going on. And then you do think she is holding something back. There seems to be, as much as everything that she's told you is 100% true, there's something else on her mind. There's another reason why she jumped so quickly to offer her cart. Well, I can go ask Aunt Deli.
You're muted, Kelly.
Oh, sorry. I said that's just going to go right in my back pocket.
Okay. I can go ask Aunt Deli if you're ready to go now. I'll go talk with her now, and you can have a moment with the Proclaimer, and we'll get everything all set. Because as I said, if we can get on the road quickly, I think Clyde and Clarence can get us there well before the sun goes down.
I think that's important. So yes, we must make haste. So ask now so we can get out of here.
Okay. And she goes off to back kind of to the main road where there is a group of people who have gathered around Aunt Deli, who are all obviously people who know her or know Kiana. And the Proclaimer stands there holding on to the walking stick that they have and says, "Shall we go meet the horses, I guess?"
Wait, were those the names of the horses?
Clyde and Clarence? I'm assuming so.
And they point over to where Lady Dre had indicated, and yeah, you see hitched up basically along one of the roads that has now become a parking space, kind of, because this whole middle part of the town has become a festival. There's places for other people to park their carts, and you see a very nice cart that it's a buckboard wagon with seats on the back and plenty of space for stuff. You can see it's fairly empty right now, which makes a little bit of sense. If she was coming to drop off things, there's just a couple of sacks in the back, and hitched up nearby are two very large horses. You think kind of almost Clydesdale in size, very sturdy, not race horses, but definitely going to get you there. And they're just munching on some feed, hanging out, and the Proclaimer walks on over and starts to pet one and says, "So what's going on the Radiant Citadel that requires a Proclaimer?"
Cricket's gonna look over at Wisteria and Ustina, like give her them a look, like, should we just fill him in on everything we've been through? Just one of those looks, sort of.
I mean, the McCantry sent us, so I'm assuming we should.
It's quite a bit.
If you do plan on telling her, I will say for the sake of expediency, if you want to say, we just give the Cliff Notes version of what's happened. For those of you at home who haven't watched, you can watch episodes 1, 2, and 3.
And while Wisteria is telling her that, Ustina did not even listen to Cricket. Ustina is sitting on a rock and she's got her eyes closed. She might appear to be sleeping, maybe. I don't know. She looks more focused than you guys remember having seen her be focused.
The Proclaimer listens to the whole tale that you have, that you've laid out, and nods and says, I will need to make sure that I get you the full poem. I feel like there are answers here from the past, and while my memory is usually impeccable, the Song of the Diamond is not one that is spoken of. Most of the stories that we like to tell that are that old involve our trip here to God's Breath. That is more about the people that we had on the Radiant Citadel before it was lost. And if you're encountering creatures and the incarnates are worried in a way that requires that deep of a history, I want to make sure I get you accurate words. And it's about this time that Lady Dre comes back and she says, I did ask. She wants to go, but she did agree that it's probably not the best for her health, especially if we want to do this quickly. So she is going to stay behind. And I see you've met Clyde and Clarence. How you doing, boys? How you doing? She comes over and pats them on the side and starts to hitch the horses to the buckboard wagon.
Can I well, first of all, like, Vint will be very interested in seeing like Ustina act in a more focused and is Ustina meditating, or is it something different?
Who knows? I'm sure you'll find out at some point soon.
Okay. Well, in that case, are you going to do something then to her?
Ustina suddenly sounds like the DM. I'm very curious about what's going on.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Well,
sorry, Vince.
No, I mean, he will be respectful. Like I ask if she's meditating because if Vin thinks that she is, he won't bother her. Like, he respects that sort of like time. But if she's more like, you know, kind of lost in thought or looking elsewhere like that, that might be different.
She has her eyes closed. She's got her sword across her lap, and she's just sitting there with her eyes closed. Looks like she might be resting. You don't know.
Okay, in that case, I mean, Vin will interpret that as meditating, and he wouldn't interrupt that. No, go ahead, Alicia. I don't know if you wanted to do.
No, actually, now that I know she's meditating, I'm going to leave her alone. She often has to do this because it helps prepare her for whatever we're about to face. There are a lot of missing pieces and things going on, and puzzle pieces moving around. It's very confusing. We have warehouse. We have tornado fight. We have farmers with rusted tools. We have a drawing by a little girl that looks like something from a nightmare. We have a Song of a Diamond. We have minis, but, you know, Ustina doesn't know yet. So it's just a lot of pieces. Hopefully we can figure, maybe this is the last piece of the puzzle, going to the Radon and finding out what we're supposed to find out. Otherwise we die.
Well,
that's an optimistic way of looking at things.
I would hope that there's a middle ground. Maybe you don't find all your answers, but we still save all the people in the rattle, right? Like that would be still a win. Also, climb aboard. I'm ready to take you. And Lady Dre motions to the wagon.
Cricket's gonna hop right in.
Is it the type of wagon that has seats, or is it more like produce carrying, like?
It does. It has a couple of seats. Basically, around the outer edge is a bench specifically for people to sit. And then the middle section has not only a very large open space for goods and things, but you can also see the markings of where boxes normally go. Looks like Lady Dre does some fairly regular deliveries and has a regular thing that she puts in the back of the cart. But right now, as I said, it's mostly empty. And if you take a moment when you sit down on one of the benches and look at one of the bags that are in there, it's mostly feed for the horses. You do see a pack that seems to be more of personal effects, but there's nothing else in the cart at the moment. So there's plenty of room for all of you.
Okay. Well, if no one else objects to it, Vint will take one of the seats closest to the front.
Okay.
Just
Would
to
you
keep
like
an eye on the row.
Okay. You can basically sit back to back with Lady Dre, or if you want to sit on the side of the cart so that you can see both kind of out the front and then out the back. Which would you prefer? One of those?
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right.
From Cricket's now comfy seat in the wagon, she's going to look over at Ustina, who's just sort of calmly meditating. And on her belt, she's going to unhook something that looks like an orange boomerang. And she's going to just hold it up. It's going to start like glowing with radiance. She's going to whip her arm back and just swing it. And it's going to fly, and just sort of wind around Ustina's head and sort of just clip her ear and then come back. She's going to catch it. We're ready to go now.
That was very impressive. I'm very proud of you. And she uses her sword to get up and puts it on her back.
Lady Dre immediately stands up in her seat as she's finished hitching the horses. And that was so impressive. Where did you learn to do something like that?
Thank you.
Ustina will not get in the wagon. Ustina is going to go up and stand to the left of the horse that's on the left, whether that's Clyde or Clarence, I don't know. But she's going to walk.
Okay.
Next to the horse.
Okay. You'll find Lady Dre doesn't stop you because you'll find fairly quickly they're going to take a walking pace, and this is less about moving quickly and more about both not having to stop because the horses have way more stamina than most of you, and also so that you have a chance to comfortably talk with the Proclaimer. But yeah, especially with your ability to show off your athleticism, keeping up with the horse, not going to be that hard. And Wisteria, were you going to pop in the back of the wagon?
I will, but first I just want to very quickly, I take out a marigold seed and I put it in my hand, and it's going to bloom, and then I'm going to smell the flower. I would like to use Druidcraft to check the weather, the upcoming weather, kind of to sense if anything is
on the horizon
in our near future, if there's anything kind of unnatural on the air.
Let me consult the weather forecast for today. The funny thing about this is I've been waiting to use that myself in a different game, and now I'm on the other side of this. You don't get anything unnatural, which is, when it's unnatural, it's very, very rare. And that it gives you a little bit of like an ache in your back right side just for a second. You don't get that ache. Everything feels natural. Today is an absolutely gorgeous day. And the weather for God's Breath along your trip is going to be sunny with a chance of clouds, high about, mid 60s. I'm not going to put that in Celsius or in God's Breath terms. I'm very sorry. Tonight is going to be mostly clouded over, and tomorrow seems to be about the same.
Excellent. Well, that seems like it's good news for traveling.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's all I need to do to prepare us for this. So yeah, let's let's get going.
All right. Those of you who are in the cart, settle in. Ustina takes position by the horses. The Lady Dre gives a very gentle, all right, boys, let's get going. And they start to, it's a slow trot down the road, and you start to move. It's, for the moment, you're still kind of making your way out of Promise, so you can still hear the sounds of the festival, smell the food, see people still coming in. And then eventually, as you leave the town, the city as it were, the road continues to be very nicely paved, very well traveled, and it's mostly open. And you see that the landscape around here, as you start to travel, it's leading north through what you now know from listening to some of the Awakening song and some of the people talking as the Ribbon, the area that has a lot of the farmhouses and a lot of the agricultural section is happening here. It's clusters of farmhouses dotted amongst this thick, dark red ground. And there's little bits of scattered woods here and there. It all seems very nice, although after about an hour and a half of walking, the paved road becomes a little bit more worn, something that hasn't been kept on quite as much. The trees start to grow a little more dense, and the farms become fewer and farther between. And that's when the Proclaimer will let you know that you're starting to enter what's called the Rattle, which still has that deep red earth, but definitely the sense you get here is a little more desperate, a little more oppressive. The farmhouses are even further away in very tight clusters. You see the crops that are around here, a lot of it is a sorghum, which is doing okay, but the further you go, the less height they have and the less thickness they have, and the more you see a lot of the land is empty. You're not exactly sure. Maybe this is just they're refreshing the fields for the year.
But we also had noticed that there were less vegetables and things at the celebration than normal. So maybe
Absolutely.
this isn't intentional.
Yeah, Vint is very disturbed by this. He's like, it's kind of like visiting that one place you loved as a kid, and like it's now very, like, it's not at all what you remember.
Mm-hmm.
So like he's looking around, like, what happened here?
And noticing the Proclaimer, because you've kind of been just gently chit-chatting this whole time, and the Proclaimer will say, "This is one of the reasons I wanted to come with you to investigate. The crops around here have been waning. The Ribbon is usually a bounty for us, and lately that bounty has grown small. The people who work this land are worried about misfortunes that keep happening, the problems with the livestock that are out here. It's as if the Ribbon has ceased to be a place of bounty. And that's one of the reasons that many have gone further into the Rattle, which is hopefully as fertile, but is much more dangerous territory. There's other issues with going that far away, and hopefully we can figure out what's been going on, because this has happened for a while. And now that I've seen those farmers, I can't help but feel this is connected somehow, even if it's tangential.
May I examine some of the sorghum and see if there's anything I can recognize about what's going on with the plant?
Yeah. Do you want to stop for a second, take a little pit stop? And
if that's okay, yeah.
Yeah, Lady Dre will pull off to the side and she'll take a moment to water and feed the horses. Ustina, you've been trotting along by one of them, she comes up to you and actually just hands you a bag of feed and says, "Oh, why don't you take care of Clyde, since you seem to have grown so accustomed and friendly with him, and I'll take care of Clarence."
Of course.
And Wisteria, as you head on over to just the sorghum that's right over here by the side of the road, go ahead and give me a nature check.
It's an 11.
Okay.
Great.
They're not completely destroyed plants. They're a little, if you didn't know better from what the Proclaimer was saying, you'd think they just had a little bit of a drought. Maybe it just hadn't rained enough here. Everything's just a little wilted. Everything's just a little, it just feels oppressive. And as you look across this wide field of all these red flowers and grains, it's not just this area. As you've been coming forward, whatever the issue is, it is widespread, but you're really not sure.
All right.
Is there anything, Vint? Oh yeah, Vint, what would you like to do?
Yeah, I was gonna say, while that's happening, if there's a moment where like we stop and they're feeding the horses and Wisteria's checking the plants, Vint will light a long pipe that he keeps with some herbs that he keeps on a pouch, and after he lights it, he will like smoke a little and then offer it to Tungsten.
They hold up their hand, but give you a thanks and say, "I'm enjoying the smell of yours, but I don't partake myself. It's bad for the vocal cords, and I do a lot of singing."
I do no singing. I'll partake.
I'll move it to Cricket, and like after that answer, I ask, "How long have you been a proclaimer? Does one study for long to become one?"
Most of us do commit our lives to this. It's a commitment that takes everything, and it's not just about the awakening song. It is learning the history of our people. It is passing along those stories, whether they're in the song or not. And it's searching for more meaning and answers from our gods to try and figure out things like what's going on with the rattle. And about that time, this whole time as you've been talking, they've been idly pulling out books from this giant pack on their side, and it's obvious they're still able to engage in conversation, but they're doing some quick flip throughs and then looking back, and then quick flip throughs and looking back, and sometimes pulling out a piece of parchment and putting back. And about this time they say, "I have finally found it. This is some of these poems are very, very old. I can't sing these, unfortunately. I feel a little awkward admitting that, but if you would permit me for a moment."
Please.
And
Please.
they will read off winds of protection, winds of destruction, hopes of our community dashed with a roar. Piercing notes of protective construction sing through the crystal we all adore. Stopping the gloom of the beast's domination, the darkened diamond's duty is done, and all has gone quiet for the duration. The battle has ended, the keening begun. And they close the book and say, "As far as I know, this is from a story, a long poetic story detailing our people, or at least what we think happened when we were removed from the Radiant Citadel. It is
Dark.
it is
Beautiful,
very,
but dark.
as many stories are. Even the saddest of stories have some beauty and lesson to teach. I
That is
don't know if
true.
this helps you at all, but it definitely rings of some of the things you were talking about.
There is something that stood out to me. I mean, everything did, but there is something that really stood out to me. In the song, it spoke of a darkened diamond and saying the duty is done. I remember when we were fighting that beast in the warehouse, that part of the diamond that was darkened. Did it ever return back afterwards? We made sure it did turn back. But it was the weirdest thing. It was strange. That part of the diamond just turned dark. Something we've never seen before. Could history be trying to repeat itself? That's a reach, but I mean.
It's not a reach. History is a series of repetitions. That's why it's important that we learn from it to avoid mistakes we've made in the past and be prepared for issues that come in the future. It's why all of these stories, and they indicate the giant pack at their side, the songs, the tales, they are not just for us, they are for everyone to learn from. I just never expected needing to tell people from the Radiant Citadel about what I've always believed was just a very pretty dark legend.
I like hearing this stuff though, because I think Wisteria is actually from the Citadel. You were born here. I'm moved here later in life. So a lot of the history I do not know. So it's important for me to know this, especially as she sort of puts her head down, if we're getting ready to face something that has not been faced in many years, in a long time.
Vin interjects and he's like, that kind of story is frowned upon on the Citadel. I'm not surprised it's not talked about or even discussed. It might be somewhere in the archives of the incarnates. There might be some spirit that has it, but I wouldn't be surprised if the keepers or someone else prevented them from repeating it. Mostly because, as we all know, the state of the Citadel and everything around it depends on the well-being of the city. So these kind of stories that sow fear and distrust among the people, they are buried in the past. It's not uncommon.
That is sad to hear. Maybe you, and there's a wry smile that comes across Tungsten Ward's face. And they say with a little bit of humor, maybe you just need better bards who can deliver the message as one of learning instead of one of fear.
We could definitely benefit from that.
Well, I'm glad and hopeful that my knowledge can help you in this. I'll continue to think through what I know and see if there's any other passages that might pertain to what you're talking about. But like you said, these are old stories. Some, including myself, believed them to simply be fanciful legends of what we believed happened when we lost the Citadel before it was refound again. Ustina, what are you up to at the moment? Since you're the only one not in the cart, since I'm assuming Wisteria came back.
Have we started moving again?
Not just yet, but if Wisteria is done with their examination and it looks like you're just getting back to talking, then Lady Dre is starting to prepare to leave again.
Sorry, I live around the corner from the fire station, and they all just went by.
Fire trucks,
You all,
planes.
I
all-
know that struggle.
you're all standing there kind of pondering what the proclaimer has told you, and it's almost as though you can hear that last line, the battle has ended, the keening begun, and it's almost as though you hear the keening on the wind.
Well, that's very unsettling.
So as they start moving again, no one else has really known Ustina for very long. She doesn't stay in one place long enough for people to know her, except for Cricket. So Cricket would be the only one to notice that while Ustina usually has a sense of moving when still, like she's never really still. She has been very still while she's been walking with the horse and feeding the horse. And now that they start walking again, she tucks away the feed bag. She starts walking by the horse. She listens to more keening going by the window. And and then
That keening gloom, it's always just right on the edges.
right there.
Just right outside of wherever you are.
I know. And she will reach up as everyone else is talking, and she's going to kind of put her hand behind the ear of the Clydesdale and scratch his ear and release the spell she's been holding, which is Speak with Animals.
All right. You release. Are you trying to do this subtly?
No, well, I mean, to anybody else, it just looks like I'm petting the horse.
Okay. Cricket
Okay.
knows what you're doing. I know.
Cricket would know, maybe,
I know
but
what you're doing.
I mean, I didn't
It
have
was
this
Amy's
ability
though.
before something called a level up, so probably
Yeah.
not.
Sometimes those chances to take a rest that is very long is very helpful.
Right.
You release the spell.
And she's kind of scratching, right behind the ear. And hello, Clyde.
Oh, hello.
How are you feeling? It's a long walk.
Oh, it is, but it's very good to stretch my legs again.
Again,
Yes.
have you been standing still for a long time?
The party was going on and we couldn't go to the party. And so here we are, just standing around. But, friends, now we walk.
We walk, and I might have some party favors in my bag I can share with you later.
Do you have
I'm just
apples?
saying. Maybe.
Do you have apples?
Maybe.
Do you have apples?
Yes.
Okay.
I love
Okay.
Speak with Animals.
So Clyde, before I get my apple, because it's with my things in the wagon,
You should get them.
I will.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I'm gonna
Mhm.
leave you a question to think about, and I'm gonna go get my apple.
Okay.
I want you to think about what it's been like in the rattle and anything that's more different than you're used to. And so then she will walk back, very calmly remove her bag with that kind of singular look of a child who's doing something and pretending no one can see them. And
Okay.
then just walks back over,
As
holds the
you
apple
walk,
out under his mouth.
as you walk on back
Mhm.
to the horses, you hear Clarence talking, going, "Well, she bringing 2 apples? Because I want an apple too." No, I just asked. She asked me a question, and I would. Oh, yes, apples.
She digs in her bag and brings out another apple and just holds the apples underneath the horses.
Both of them immediately big, massive, those Clydesdale teeth
Mhm.
that are, they're for
Ginormous.
chewing apples. So they're
Yes.
not necessarily, it's not like they're sharp fangs or anything, but they're
Mm-mm.
big and
They're
they're
big.
strong. And despite the fact that they're still chewing on the apples, because when animals speak, it is not that it just comes out of their mouth. It's
Mhm.
the way they move, it's the way they
Mhm.
smell, it's the flick of the ear. And Clyde, as he's munching, kind of side eyes you and then looks back at Clarence and then looks back at you and says, "Well, the things that the nice lady puts in the cart, there have been few of them, very few. Usually when we do this, it's very heavy. It's a fun pull. This is less of a fun pull." That's weird.
That is weird. Tell me about the lady.
Oh, the nice lady who lets us pull things.
The
and
nice
brings us
lady who
food.
lets you pull things and brings you food.
Yeah.
Have you seen her ever talking with other people?
Oh, absolutely. She does a lot of talking. We can't always understand what she says, but she makes lots of motions with her hands. And she always wears very pretty hats and brings us amazing apples and grain. And sometimes those little cubes. What are those cubes
Sugar?
called? They're called sugar cubes. They're really, really good. Yes, sugar cubes. You have any sugar cubes? I would love a sugar cube.
Unfortunately, I do not. They're very expensive and I am not rich.
What is expensive?
It means money.
What is money?
So, and she gives a long economic explanation to this horse about, that lasts about 2.5 minutes. And she's explaining, there's this thing called capitalism and it hurts people.
Oh, that sounds very bad. Everyone should get apples and sugar cubes and as much grain as they need.
I agree, but
Hmm.
Cricket doesn't let me eat a lot of sugar, unfortunately.
Well,
I
the
don't
nice
know
lady
why.
doesn't let us eat a lot of sugar as
I
well.
know.
Yeah. And Clarence speaks up and says, it's good for us to only have a little bit. I don't care about good. I only care about good in my mouth. Do you have any more apples?
You are my new favorite friend.
Oh,
Now-
thank you.
What about the farmers out there? Have you noticed anything different about them?
They're so sad. Maybe it's
Mm.
because they have left stuff to give us to pull.
That could be. That could be. Did you ever see the farmers with the nice lady where,
Oh,
did
yes,
anything
all the
change
time.
with the farmers when they were with the nice lady?
Recently, nothing except that there's just less. There's less things. She talks to them. She gets stuff. She gives stuff, and we have stuff to pull. And then we go to another place, and she gets stuff, and she gives stuff, and we have more stuff to pull. And recently, there's just been less stuff to pull. It hasn't been as fun. But at
She's
least we have
kind,
the cart.
and she's kind to you.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, apples.
I too understand the currency of food. It's very important. And so she'll just after she's done with that, after she's slightly come to the realization that talking to a horse is probably what other people experience when they're talking to her. She just sit there and chats with them about inconsequential things. She pulls out a couple more apples and hands them over. She's like, I don't like fruit anyway. You can have my fruit.
I do not like fruit. It's crunchy, it's sweet, it's colorful, it's crunchy, it's sweet, it's crunchy.
Is it crunchy though?
I understand the crunchy. The crunchy is good. Crunchy is good.
Feels good on the teeth.
Yes. And so she will, she'll make sure at one point to walk over by Clarence and to scratch Clarence behind the ears because we must be fair.
Mm-hmm.
And so her
Oh,
spell
hi.
lasts 10 minutes and she's just before it ends, she's going to let them know that she's not going to be able to understand them anymore. But if they ever need her to understand them about anything, they can just kind of bonk her with their nose and she'll make sure that she can make it so that she can understand them again.
Oh, like
But
this?
it is not for apples.
And Clyde immediately goes, like this? And even though they're still chugging along, pulling the cart, he turns his head and gives you a little, it's fine for you. You've got the
I'm
strength, but it's definitely a head, it's a head butt almost into your chest. That maybe it's just because they're walking. Okay, not just apples, because
Not only apples, but
Okay.
if anything happens that you think is very, very strange, that hasn't happened before, that you feel is bad.
oh, that makes sense because okay, all right. So no
Yes.
squirrels.
I too enjoy a squirrel, but no squirrels.
No squirrels. Bad things.
Bad
Did you-
things. And
did
so
you
the,
hear that?
the spell,
Bad things.
the spell starts to fade, and she just sits there and she scratches them, and
And the
kind
last
of-
the
yeah,
last thing
go
you
ahead.
hear is the two of them talking about, well, what about chipmunks? Well, what I don't know. Those are not usually bad.
Oh my
well, there
god,
was that
it is
skunk
what happens when
once.
people talk to me. Oh my god.
And
Yeah.
and as that fades away, we'll come back to the back of the cart. And Justina, at any point, if you want to join in, if you want to fall back to join in the back of the cart, is there anything else anyone would like to talk about or chat with the Proclaimer as the travel continues?
Well,
Go ahead.
oh,
Vince.
go ahead.
No, please
Oh,
go ahead.
okay.
All right, Vince,
Well,
please.
well, since it's several hours, I suppose there's like plenty of opportunity. But at some point, Vint will, he's interested in Tungsten as a proclaimer, and the reason that he asked about how long they've been one, is that he's mostly interested in hearing songs or something that reflects the time when he grew up here, because Vint was born here. He just left when he was very little. His family left, so a lot of what he remembers is like blurry in a way. So like he will start engaging them in conversation, and at some point ask, would you know of any songs that mention a woman, a fortune teller that used to live here about 20 years ago? He used to help a lot of people.
What was their name?
He kind of like hesitates for a moment and finally says, Dela.
I'm going to make a quick roll here for a second. Dela. That does sound very familiar. You are all asking about some of the most, I don't want to call them esoteric, but definitely songs that I have not thought of in a very long time. I'm grateful for this. I should practice the ones I am rusty on for sure. And they dig around and pull out another book. And this one you can see, unlike the other one that they'd read the poem off of, this one actually has some basic notation on it that you recognize musical notation. And they do sing a fairly upbeat song. It's got a little bit of a happy spirit to it. And the first stanza or two before it gets to the call and answer that you're used to with a lot of these parts of the Awakening song is about knowing the future, but not knowing exactly how it'll come out, and how having guidance is a good thing, but being rigid in that guidance is a bad thing. And that it's a blessing to have someone who can give a hint along the way. And as you get to that stanza with the call and answer, and you can hear it in your head, it's been so long that you almost start to do the call and answer with them. When all of a sudden I need all of you to give me perception checks.
Wow,
Because,
I
hey,
can't roll today.
well, you're
it's-
listening to a story right now, so
Yeah, it's 9 for me.
15.
okay. 15. Cricket.
17.
Ustina.
14.
It totally makes sense, Vint, why you would miss this, and why also the Proclaimer would miss this. The two of you have basically started to do a little mini Awakening song with between the two of you, and the rest of you, while you're listening and enjoying, are still keeping an eye on the wilting plants, on the dark red dirt, and especially Wisteria looking out amongst the plants, trying to get some more details, and Ustina being keyed into watching the horses for any sign that they've seen something different, and Cricket being that protective kind of overwatch lookout. Notice in the field to your right, movement, harsh, quick movement, like someone is running through the sorghum, and you see the stalks parting and parting and parting and parting, and not far behind them is another larger movement, and once again parting and parting and parting and parting. And it looks like there is a chase happening out in the field.
She lets the others know. Look, straight ahead. Do you see that?
I do.
Yes.
What
Immediately
what
stand
is
up and
that?
try.
Oh, we can't tell. I don't know what it is.
Is it ahead
but-
of the cart or behind the cart or directly next to
It's
us?
to the right.
It's
Right.
to the right of the cart. And because you're moving at a fair pace, and then this whatever's going on in this field, this chase is happening faster. You think it came up from behind you and it's just now starting to pass you on the right, which is why so many of you noticed. But if you wait too long, it looks like if they
It's
keep
gonna
going in the direction they're going, they'll go past you.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, Cricket
how
goes,
how
she
far away are
growls,
they?
Takes off.
Oh, Wisteria, they are about 50 to 60 feet away in the sorghum, you
Okay.
think, as Cricket growls and leaps out of the cart.
Ustina
Yep.
sees Cricket growl and leap out of the cart and gets a big grin on her face and runs right after Cricket.
Mhm.
Oh God. Okay, before they go, or as they are going, Vint will quickly produce two of his daggers, like tiny motes of orange light in his hand, like the two shrines, and like throws them at both Estina and Cricket. And he will use psychic whispers, which will connect all three of them telepathically, so they can communicate. I need to roll at 1d6 to see how long it lasts. Let me.
1d6. Okay.
Yeah, I rolled a 1, but it's 1 hour. I'm telling you
good.
today, I'm cursed today. But yeah, it's 1 hour. It should be more than enough. Yeah.
All right.
Perfect.
Lady, as two of you spring out of the cart, as the other two prepare yourselves to also spring out of the cart, Lady Dre brings up the horses and says, "Oh, okay, we'll stop here. I'll be here with the horses." And the proclaimer also stands and is watching, and is holding their walking stick now in a more defensive position, but is not following as all of you jump out into the sorghum, parting through the stalks. I need anyone who has decided to go into the sorghum to make survival checks, please.
Got it.
I mean, it's not like we're just going to sit on the sidelines while this happens.
I
18.
appreciate that. 18 from Wisteria. Cricket.
A 9.
Vint.
An 8.
Ustina.
12.
Ustina and Wisteria, you hone in. It's the sound. You realize very quickly as you enter the sorghum, you can't see 5 feet in front of you. The stalks are too thick and together. And while they're not stopping your movement, they are completely blocking any sight. But you take that second and you hear the sound of this chase happening and hone in on it. Cricket and Vint, Cricket, you'd kind of dashed into the sorghum a little too fast, and now you've lost your bearings a bit. And Vint, you've taken that moment to connect people so that you can all stay together. Ustina Wisteria, you start to move towards whatever this noise is, and you get there first as you practically run into an old man who is dashing through the sorghum. He's in farmer's clothing. You can tell he's of a fairly advanced age, very wrinkled but wiry, with still some very strong muscles, as he almost bumps into the two of you and says, "Oh, they're right behind me. They're right behind me." We're
Who's
going to
behind
roll
you?
initiative. We're going to roll initiative, and Ustina Wisteria, you have advantage on the initiative because you were able
Nice.
to track what was going on.
Whew.
Awesome.
Ooh, that's
And,
a good thing I had advantage because I rolled a 1. 14.
The 13.
14 and 13 and Cricket
21.
and Vint.
18.
Awesome. Cricket, despite the fact that you had lost track of what was going on when you entered this field, Ustina and Wisteria are between the two of them being able to track what's going on and Vint keeping you all connected psychically, you are able to get into position really quickly. And as you run up, you see that what's been chasing this old man, they look like coyotes, but they're huge, mangy, with already bloodied muzzles, and they look really fearsome. They're practically in the middle of growling. You see one of them almost skids to a stop as though it was going to leap and only stopped just because it saw the group of you. Cricket, you are first. What would you like to do?
Okay, and you said how many are there that we see?
There are 3 of these very large coyotes, you think.
Oh, coyotes. Okay.
Before that, I'm just gonna say, like, you hear Vince's voice in your head, both as Tina and Cricket. Like, what's happening? Are you okay? Yes, we can talk to each other.
Okay. She's gonna look at, and did you say that? Oh,
she's used to Cricket in her head, but she's just like,
I think that's Vint. Get over here. There are 3 wolves here. They're trying to kill this man. We don't know what's going on. Get over here. And she sort of like gives him the coordinates so she can figure out how to get through here and find us. So they're all 3 just sort of converging this way, right? Like just directly forward.
Yeah, it looks like you all got there just in time to prevent this gentleman from being pounced on.
Okay. Like first, okay, so she's just gonna immediately, the first thing she's gonna say is not today. And as she says that, glowing light goes forward toward the 3 just to like, and it hits them like really bright. It's a word of radiance, which means that each creature must succeed in a Constitution saving throw or take 1d6 radiant damage just first.
And that's within 5 feet of you?
Yes.
Okay. You can move into a space that can get 2 of the 3 at the same time.
Perfect. Okay, that's good enough for me.
And I'm sorry, what was the saving throw?
It's a con 13.
All right. The first one rolls a 10, fails. Second one rolls a 17 and succeeds. So you get one of them.
5 damage.
All right. It bursts out from you and that coyote. And it makes this horrible screeching noise, not something that you're used to. And what else would you like to do?
She's just gonna stay in position. Wait, how far? She's 30. How far? I'm 5 away from 2 of them. She's just gonna stay in position and just trying to be really intimidating. She's gonna try.
All right.
If it works. That's all.
All right. So after you is one of these coyotes. After this will be Vint, so you're on deck. It's the one that you hit with your radiance, and even though they were converging on this old man, it winces back at you. You growl at it. It growls at you, and it's gonna try to bite you. Does a 15 hit?
No.
But does it? Is that because of armor, or do you duck out of the way? What do you do?
I have an armor class. Oh, how does he miss me? Okay, because when she growled, like as she jumped out of that wagon, she assumed she shifted into her more lycanthrope body type. It's not completely wolf, but it's like wolf human hybrid. And because of that, she has better dexterity, so she's more like agile. So she's able to bob and weave better as a wolf.
I love it. Yeah. So this coyote snaps out at you and just misses. Vint, it is your turn. After that, there's going to be a coyote and Ustina.
Okay, am I within 60 feet of any of these animals?
Absolutely.
Okay, so and one of them is attacking Cricket like head on, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I will attack that one. I will throw one of the psychic daggers at it. Again, orange energy flashes with the tattoo and manifests on its hands and like flies like a butterfly toward it. The attack roll is a dirty 20.
Absolutely.
Ooh.
And the damage is that is not the damage. I rolled the wrong thing. It's a 4.
All right. And which one did you go after again? I'm sorry.
The one that's attacking Cricket.
Awesome. It takes 4 more damage, and it lets out this awful that just sounds wrong.
I'm gonna sneak attack since it's next to Cricket, correct?
Absolutely. You got an ally next to it.
Yeah, so that is 5, so total of 9.
All right.
And as a bonus action, can I see the gentleman who was like running away from the wolves?
Absolutely. He had stumbled a little bit when all of you kind of converged, and he's now he's standing right there amongst all of you, about 10 feet away from the closest wolf.
Okay, I will use my telekinetic pole to reach out and like pull him to, like 5 extra feet away. And while I'm doing that, I'm gonna yell, "Run!" Like, you know, like move. Just now that he's away from, like further away at least from one of the wolves, I'm gonna like motion for him to run to the wagon.
I got it. I got him.
When Wisteria says that, and Vint, you pull him, there's a surprise on his face as he is just moved. But he doesn't resist it as you pull him in the direction of Wisteria, and he'll on his turn come towards you. But anything else for you, Vint?
No, that's my action. That's on my turn, sorry.
The other wolf next to Cricket is also going to try to bite her, and that's an 11, so I don't think that hits. And so up is Ustina, and then after that will be Wisteria.
Okay. Everybody else is used to seeing this. Vint isn't, so that it might be slightly startling to you that the entire area starts smelling like fire, and just a bit, you know. And
that's not good in a sorghum field.
Yeah.
Oh god.
And you just kind of see it kind of going as a, because Ustina's more stalking over there, like, why are you making me do work, kind of thing. And her hair is glowing. And so she gets over there and she is raging. And new for Cricket, when she rages, she makes a growl like Cricket.
Ooh.
Oh, that's cool.
That's cool.
Yep. So now everybody will have advantage on any melee attack on any hostile creature within 5 feet of me.
Nice.
All right.
Tactics. Okay. So then I'm going to make an attack. Actually, oh, wait a second. I'm going to attack recklessly.
All right.
Yes.
Which one are you going after? There's 2 next to Cricket, and there's 1 that is a little further away.
I'm going to go against the one that just missed Cricket, so that
Okay.
we're kind of making a wall for these things to have to go through.
Sure.
So that means I get advantage on my first attack. Let us see how that goes. Okay, please be better. By 1 point, really? Okay, nope, that was a reckless attack, and the better one was only a 9 because it flipped off the 18. So that probably does not hit them.
Sadly, it does not. You're stalking over, and you emanate this growl, and it's fearsome enough that this weird coyote creature actually hears you coming and ducks out of the way just in time. Do you have a second attack?
I don't believe I do at level 3 from what I'm seeing.
Okay.
Yeah, it says attack for action 1. Okay, so yeah, I don't have anything else.
All right. Wisteria, it is your turn.
All right. So first I would like to reach out and I touch one of the nearby pieces of sorghum, and all of a sudden the roots are going to come up through the ground as I cast Entangle. It's a strength 13 save to try and entangle the creatures.
Okay. Remind me, how large is that area again?
That creates a 20-foot square.
Okay. You can get all 3 of them if you also get Ustina and Cricket. If you want to avoid your friends, you can get the 2 that are next to Cricket. Which would you like to do?
I'll leave the one out, I guess.
Okay.
And I'll get the other two, because that way we can focus on the one that's free and then get the other two later. And then I would like to go, pardon me, please come with me, friend. And I will, is that okay? And if the gentleman is okay with it,
Oh, yes, sure, thank you.
we pop out of existence and poof, reappear much closer to the wagon, and then, okay, time to run now. And I kind of
So
escort him back using my Spring Eladrin face step.
I love it. I love it so much.
And once he's dropped, if I have additional movement, I'll turn around and start heading back.
I'm going to say you do because Vint was able to pull this man to you. You didn't have to use any movement. You just went and you were there, and so you can use all your movement. Were you going back to the cart with him or back to the
I was
group?
going to escort him back to the cart, and then I was going to head back to the fray.
Okay.
Now
Yeah.
that he's protected, I figure he's there with the Proclaimer and
Absolutely.
Lady Day.
Absolutely.
Lady Dre.
And yeah, because this wasn't that far out into the sorghum, you can absolutely do that and be back next round to be amongst the fray again. It was a
Beautiful.
strength saving throw for the two
Yes,
the two
strength
coyotes.
13.
Okay. One of them got a dirty 20. Oof. The other one got a 22. These are wiry creatures, but they manage to it's less almost about strength and more about just they pull out of the way in unnatural ways. Do they take half damage or do
No,
they?
I'm debating. The ground becomes difficult terrain. I'm debating if I want to use a reaction. While
you debate, I'll
sure,
say
I will use silvery barbs.
okay.
That's cool spell.
To make one of them reroll.
I
And
imagine
then go ahead.
I was going to say, I imagine you taking this gentleman by the shoulders, and as you're about to phase step, like you turn back around and go, no, and then are gone.
Yeah.
All right, so they have to roll with disadvantage.
So yeah, so I again that I take out a marigold similar but a slightly different type from the one I used for Druidcraft, and one of the I pull off one of the petals which flies in the wind right into the face of that wolf, distracting it momentarily. So it needs to re-roll and use the lower roll.
And that definitely worked. It rolled an 8, so that one is now caught in your entangle.
And who is next up in our combat order?
It will be Cricket, because we'll be back.
I'm going to go ahead and give Cricket the advantage on her next attack roll as well.
Perfect. Before Cricket, there is that last wolf who is going to turn, having heard Ustina's growl, and is going to snap at Ustina. Unfortunately, Ustina, you're not the only one with pack tactics. However, they only rolled a 12.
Hey, miss.
This weird coyote creature snaps out at you, but is a little too short to dig in.
Smells fire, says no.
I'm going to say that's exactly why. As it's going in to bite you, it smells the smell of flame and recoils instinctually from it. The old man that you were helping, Wisteria, thanks you and climbs up into the back of the cart to be next to Proclaimer Ward, who is still standing there, looking like they might know what to do with that staff if necessary. And Cricket, it is your turn. You are muted.
Cricket's going to grab that advantage from Wisteria and pocket it. And you know, she's going to close her eyes and then she's going to open them again. And one is going to be like bright yellow and one of them is going to be dark. And she's sort of muttering to herself. And you hear like the words like light and dark and life and death. And then as she says that, again, light just sort of emanates from her. And she's going to bless everyone in the group, not the wolves, the people in the team.
On. my weird coyote creatures, you want to bless them? I mean,
yeah. And then so whenever they make an attack roll or a saving throw, the target can roll D4 and add the number to the attack roll or the saving throw. And after she's done with that, she's just gonna do like so this like wide arc, a movement with her hand, and she's going to cast Shield of Faith. Just two. What am I doing? In front of herself. In front of herself. Yeah, just in front of herself, in front of anyone that's basically around her. It's going to be like a 60-foot shimmering field appears and surrounds her. You have to forgive me. This is my first time playing a cleric that actually saves people and not a cleric that tries to kill people. So this is kind of fun for me.
Hey, listen, we're all here for each other. If you
Are
need
you
any
a
help with
good
anything.
cleric or a bad cleric?
No, I've been a war domain cleric, but not a protector.
Not a peace domain cleric.
Yeah, I've been a beast, but I've never been like, I'm helping you live. Okay.
I want you to sing that every time. I want you to live. Okay, so that you get blessed everybody, and then Shield of Faith, you're casting that on yourself, and it gives you a bonus to your AC, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Anything else?
Just because. No, she's gonna stay right where she is, called stand.
All right.
That's all.
That weird coyote creature that you had attacked before is going to try to attack you again. Vint, you're going to be up after this. Ooh, does a 23 hit?
Hit me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to
Darn
take 11 piercing damage.
Ooh, that one hurt.
And there's a weird burn to it. There's no other damage that comes by, but it's like the maw of this creature is
okay,
decrepit. You can almost smell the necrotic teeth in this creature as it snaps at you and pulls back.
You said necrotic?
You don't take any necrotic damage, but it's something about this weird coyote creature. There's something wrong with it. Vint, it is your turn. There'll be the wolf and Justina.
Can I ask, you've described these creatures as like mangy and weird and necrotic bites. Like, is it pretty obvious that these are kind of like supernaturally corrupted wolves or coyotes, or is it like, do they outwardly appear like normal animals, and is it only when they bite you that's obvious?
Go ahead and, well, you tell me. How would Vint try to figure this out? Would you look them over? Are you using your knowledge from living here, what animals are around? Are you getting close to one and like pawing through its fur? What are you doing?
Well, mostly he would be looking for any signs of, because he's knowledgeable in like aberrant creatures and undead, since that is like a particularly common threat around the ethereal islands that surround the Citadel. Mm-hmm. So, he would be trying to look for signs related to that.
Okay. Give me either an investigation or a nature check then.
Okay. I'm much better at investigation, so I'm gonna roll that. I rolled a 13. And I'm gonna I have an ability called Psi Bolster Knack, which lets me roll a d6 and add the roll to that. So that is a 6, so it's a total of, what did I say before? 13 plus 6, 19.
Nice. Yeah. You look at the creature that had specifically gone after Cricket, and at first glance, they seem like very large, mangy coyotes. And you do know from your previous experience, as well as some of the stories that you've now heard from Proclaimer Ward, that the Rattle is a dangerous place. There are many, many dangers, both natural and unnatural, both just regular creatures as well as the supernatural. You're not exactly sure what's going on with this coyote, but it definitely, there's something wrong with it. You don't think it's undead. You think it has the same feel that the sorghum around you has. Everything is just corrupted in a way and wilted, and something about these are no longer just coyotes. They're bigger, they're mangier, they're nastier. They're definitely not acting like a normal beast would act. But you don't think they're undead.
Okay. Knowing that, he will move forward and while he is passing by the one that Ustina is fighting, he will attack it at melee, forming a psychic blade. Sorry, I rolled the wrong thing again. I keep rolling. There's one that you can roll when you do an offhand attack, and I keep rolling that instead of the main one. So, that's 7. I don't think that's good.
Unfortunately, not.
Okay, so I missed that one, but as a bonus action, I'm gonna turn and throw a knife toward the one that Cricket is fighting.
Sure.
And that one is the correct roll for this one. That is a 22.
That absolutely hits.
And the damage is 4 plus my sneak attack, which is 2d6. That is a total of 12 damage for the one that Cricket is fighting.
Nice. The one that you throw the dagger at slices through this monster, and it lets out a gurgling and then falls over dead.
Okay, then I had a bless from Cricket. That's true. Can I?
Yeah, go ahead and roll your d4. Let's see if that gets you.
Yeah.
Because you rolled a 9?
A 7.
A
so
7?
I would need a. Do they have a 10 for AC? Or
it's higher than that. Actually, now
Okay.
that I think about it, the bless.
I
would not
wouldn't
have
reach
helped.
it. Okay,
No.
good. That's okay.
But it's good to remember. Hashtag blessed.
Yeah. Hashtag blessed. Yeah. So once
And you
that
factored in the pack tactics too, right?
I
Or are you
did
not close
not.
enough
No, I remember why I got into melee with you. That it was because of that.
All right, give me another roll and add teamwork. Teamwork makes the dream work.
Thank you.
Listen, for those of you who are at home
Yay.
who want to be able to run theater of the mind, this is how it works: is you just yes and enough of it so that when people forget about positioning, it still works out. That's what happens. Go ahead and roll again. What'd you get?
Yeah, it was an 18 for that.
Okay.
And
And so that was against a different one that you threw the knife at, right?
yeah, it was
Okay,
the one that
perfect.
is Ustina is fighting.
Perfect.
And the damage for that one is 9.
Awesome. That one takes the slice, and you kind of get it in the haunch, and it winces away, but it's still facing Ustina. Anything else?
I'm just gonna yell, these creatures are corrupted. They're beyond salvation, and just let everyone know that there's no taming or negotiating with these creatures.
All right. Speaking of the one that is that you just slashed on its haunches, is going to go after Ustina, and it does have advantage because you went reckless. Does a 21 hit?
Maybe.
What?
Yes.
Okay.
It's like,
You're going to
is it
take
something-
9 piercing damage as once again its teeth sink into your side, and you feel the same thing. There's no extra damage or anything, but it's almost as though the teeth are coated in salt. It just has this extra burn to it.
I will take 5 damage because I'm raging.
Because you are ranging, and it is just piercing damage. Ustina, it is your turn, and then Wisteria is up next.
So she's gonna do the classic, look down where she got bit and look back at the thing that bit her and attack.
All right.
Don't suck, please. Oh, you do. Hold on. But now I have a D4. You know I have a D4. I don't know how to roll a D4. Just
Bottom-
a D4 right here. Oh, there we
Bottom
go.
left
Corner.
side of your character sheet, you'll see the little round D20, and you press that, and it should give you a whole list of dice to choose from, and you can roll. There you go.
It's 11.
11 does not hit.
I will never be able to hit anything with this barbarian.
It's gonna happen. I believe in you. Anything
Didn't you
else?
Didn't
You should have.
have
Yeah, you have
reckless
advantage because
advantage?
you're pack tactics.
Oh yeah, I
Flanking,
have advantage. I
See, teamwork makes the dream work.
I'm yeah.
Roll it again.
18.
That definitely
the
hits.
magic number.
Go ahead and roll damage.
5.
Awesome. You bring your greatsword down on this coyote creature, and it yelps, but it continues to at you.
So she raises her lips and does it right back at them.
And now between these creatures and Cricket and Justina, there's just all this growling going on. Anything else? All right, Wisteria, it is your turn.
So we have 2 still up, or we have 1 still up?
Two still up, one which is looking real hurt.
Okay. I'm going to make this. Let's take care of that one, I suppose. I pull out a Phlosidonus flower, stick it on the ground, and the vines creep toward that creature, and then sort of almost crawl up it and onto its head, at which point it casts Dissonant Whispers. So it is a Wisdom 13 save.
Wisdom 13. Well, that's a natural 1. I'm going to say the reason this creature failed so completely is it just took a bonk from Ustina, and it's still reeling from that.
Okay. I'm a fan, man.
Mhm.
And we have Bless on as well, so we're adding oh no, that was to the attack roll.
Yeah.
So that is 11 points of damage.
Oof.
And then I will go ahead and toss take out my dandelion and toward Ustina. Actually, you know what? Let's go to Cricket because of where we are in the speed of things.
I think Cricket has the one that you gave her before, right?
Different things.
Oh,
So
okay.
one was advantage on her next attack. She should have used it. Otherwise, I think it burns. And then this is a bardic inspiration.
But you haven't attacked
Okay.
yet, so it's still hanging around. So yeah. All right.
But they do different things, so they both can apply here.
Yep.
Awesome.
Anything else?
And the bardic has different perks depending on what you use it for. So one of the dandelion seeds is now floating around your head, Cricket, ready for whatever you may need to use it for.
Like, ooh.
It's you said it's 1d4.
It's a d6, and
Just
depending
instead
whether
of-
you add it to an ability check, attack roll, or saving throw, it does different things. So let me know what you're using it for. I will tell you what it is doing.
Thank you.
Awesome. The other one, the one that seems unhurt, is going to go after you, Cricket, but unfortunately it rolled only a 5, and so its jaws come up short. And so Cricket, it is your turn. Vint, you're on deck.
Okay, so Cricket, when she was hit by or bitten by that thing, like she fell like on her hands and knees, and like she's looking at this like bite in her side, like, and she realizes it's something that she doesn't recognize, and she's been faced with, you know, undead things in her line of work. She's faced things like this, but she's gonna look at it and stick her hand out toward like this. I do have a +5 to my HP temporarily because she shifted. So at least saved me from like being almost halfway down. She throws her hand forward, and from it comes this bolt of light. And it's going to be a guiding bolt. And I'm so excited because it's my first time ever using guiding bolt.
Oh, it's a good one.
Yay.
Go ahead and roll that attack.
With
Yes,
advantage,
okay.
right?
Mhm.
Got it. And this is where I'm going to add it to the hit or add it to the damage.
So you get to roll that attack with advantage because of the silvery barbs.
That's okay.
Followed by you can add it to the attack roll if you would like to.
Well, I just rolled a 23 for the hit.
That definitely
Okay,
hits.
then you
Go-
don't need to if you don't want to use it.
I want to use it I can use it for the attack damage, right?
So yeah, if you throw it onto the attack roll, you will add they all need to make a Constitution saving throw versus I think DC 13, or take damage equal to the number you roll on the inspiration die.
Woof. All right.
Okay.
Give me
let's
all
see.
that damage. Or yeah.
That's going to be 12 for damage. And the inspiration die. 4. Let me use one of these because I want to.
So it's each creature of your choice that you can see within 5 feet of.
Oh, so both of them are
So
going to have
it's
to.
if they're
make this.
next to each other, they're both going to have to take the extra thunder damage.
Okay. And it was 4 was the number.
All right. You launch this guiding bolt at the one creature, and even before the extra damage from Wisteria's blessing comes out, it gurgles and falls. And the other one also takes that hit, and you see it wince and shudder, and it's still growling, but now it seems to have discovered it's the only one left, and it's starting to back away. But it's
Oh,
not its
really?
turn. Cricket, anything else?
Is that an opportunity attack?
It hasn't walked away yet because it's not its turn, but you can tell the by killing this one and attacking the other, even in this weird monstrous creature, it's reevaluating its situation.
Ooh, okay. And their fur is sort of glistening, sparkling, like where it burned through, where the radiance just burned through. It's like glistening, sparkling.
Nice. All right. Vint, you're up. Ustina, you're on deck. There's only one left.
Okay. I see Ustina like basically engaging in a growl match with this creature. If she's on deck, I'm gonna use the help action to give her advantage on her turn, because like if I finish it instead of her,
she should still have advantage on her own because of the fun pack tactics that's going on. So you would know that.
Yeah. Okay. So instead of that, I'm gonna use the dodge action and kind of like start pulling away, because I know Justina can handle this, and the creature is backing away. So like he just starts to move away, and in fear that Justina will attack him if he kills it before she does.
All right. Vint also takes a little bit of a defensive posture as Ustina, it's your turn, and Wisteria, you're up next.
Okay. This time, let's see how this goes. First hit. That die spun a lot. That was not good. Let's try one more time. 16.
16 hits. Go ahead and roll damage.
7.
Describe in gory detail the death of this creature.
Yeah, so Stina knows it's on its last legs. So when she brings her sword up, she aims for what she's gonna do, and she takes its head off.
And you do, and it's clean and it's quick.
She's fought enough zombies with Cricket to know you got to cut the heads, or is that vampires?
Head first.
She'll ask Cricket later.
Either way, Vint, as you watch this happen, it does confirm what you were pretty sure of. Whatever these monsters were, they were not undead. And we are out of initiative.
Okay.
Okay, while still kind of like catching his breath, Vint will look around and particularly, was Cricket the only one that was bitten by these creatures, or was Sina too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So he's gonna approach and like just within 5 feet and look at the wound and see if there's any sort of lingering effect on that. If the corruption is spreading to them, I guess he would be interested in learning that.
I'm gonna say without a roll, you can see no, there was nothing. There was no poison. There was no corruption. The description that they gave is it's more of the physical reaction to whatever this nasty maw was, but it just seems like it's a normal fight with hardcore quotation marks.
Yeah.
But it's just piercing damage.
So we'll get what you want out of it examination wise, so I can cast something to get rid of this on us.
No, it seems fine. I don't know. These creatures are strange. They don't seem to be spreading their corruption, but they are pretty corrupted.
Corrupted? So
Yeah, well,
something has corrupted everything in this area.
it appears to be. Is everyone all right? Looks all right.
I think I'm all right, and the gentleman who is running is back in the cart with everyone, so we should probably go, check on him.
Okay, one second before we go. Cricket's just going to reach over to Ustina and just grab her hand and close her eyes and just start whispering. And as she's whispering, your wound, Ustina, and Cricket's wound just start sewing themselves back up. But it's like this thread that's like glowing, like radiant thread, and then it's disappears. Because I said it disappears, but in reality, it's 2d8.
I mean, that's gonna take care of what I had anyway. So
Perfect.
yeah.
And can I
Ustana's
assume
wiping her sword off on the wolf afterwards. And she just kind of looks up at Cricket.
Yeah.
That was a little extra.
You got the head, right?
Do you want the head?
Well, we want to keep the head because we can hang it up later. Of course.
It smells, but okay. And so she just picks up the head and starts dragging it back to the wagon.
All right. You all
We
head
are
back to the
weirdest
wagon.
people.
You're a D&D group. That's par for the course. Head of one of these weird coyote creatures in tow. When you get back to the wagon, you find that the older gentleman that you had rescued is now sitting on the back, drinking water out of a flask that obviously one of the other two had offered. You see Proclaimer Ward has relaxed a little bit, and Lady Dre says, I figured, especially after I saw what you did with the throwy thing. That was very impressive. What was? We've been speaking a little bit to Uncle Palder. He says this is not normal. Are you all okay? Is everybody okay?
We're okay now.
Fine.
I think so.
And the gentleman you saved, who you've now been introduced to as Uncle Palder, stands up off the back of the cart and says, I gotta tell you, I thought I could handle anything out here in the rattle, but that was gonna be bad news. And thank you for coming to help. I appreciate it. You didn't have to. You didn't know who I was, but you saved my life, and I appreciate it. Are you sure you want to drag that thing around? That's just going to smell up a whole day's worth of awful. And he's pointing at your head.
She immediately points at Cricket. She wanted it.
It's some sort of a ritual. Sometimes we do. We can leave this one this time. That's no problem.
Okay. And she
Should
just
we
drops
bury
it in the
it?
middle of the road.
We can always leave it too. That's always fine too. Fine.
I'm just saying, you're not going to want to drag it around with you. Those
Ustina, but while he's talking, Ustina just lights up her hands and sets it on fire.
No.
Did anyone else notice there's a fire in the middle of the road?
I did that.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Fine.
Like, don't just make sure the crops don't get set on
It's
fire.
dirt.
They're already in enough trouble that we don't want to
Fine.
burn all of the remaining crops.
I appreciate the concern. There's not much more that these crops can take, to tell you the truth. There's always been trouble in the rattle, but it's been even worse lately, and I'm not sure how many more seasons we can go through this.
Are these
What's been
creatures?
happening?
Oh no, Wisteria. What
Sorry
were you
about that at the same time.
saying? Go ahead.
Wisteria?
Oh, I was just asking what's been happening.
Well, the ground's gone sour. The creatures coming out of nowhere, things I've never seen before. Nasty stuff too. Not like the wolves in this area. They're just wolves, but whatever that thing is. And just
And how long has this been going on?
it's had an uptick in the last couple of weeks. Like something real bad has happened, but the problems with the ground, the problems with the soil, that's been a while. That's been months. We've been fighting against whatever's been going on in the ribbon and the rattle. Still trying to figure that out. You should come on by. I got my farmhouse just a little ways up. Water your horses. Take a load off. Maybe I can help you out that way as a thank you. And he'll start to, you can still ask him any questions you have, but he'll start to lead the group of you further down the road.
Ustina asks him immediately, do you have sugar cubes?
Maybe. Depends on if the sugar for the tea has hardened or not. I'll take a look.
The horses want some. I'm absolutely not going to eat one.
You watch him laugh a little bit. Horses always want sugar cubes, my friend.
Yes.
And as you're walking, Proclaimer Ward will speak up and say, we're headed to a farmstead that's close to here that has someone you might know. Are you familiar with a Kiana? And Palder stops a moment and says, oh, yeah. Nice one, that. I wasn't sure how long she was going to last in the rattle, but it seems like she was...
What do you mean?
Well, the first time I saw her, she was still trying to get acclimated. It's a rough life out here, you know? You think you're going to come out here and help, and then sometimes you're not exactly ready for how rough it is. But the last time I saw her, she seemed to be doing okay. She had a friend that was going to be coming by that she was so excited to see. Probably a, friend, boy, Cully, I think. And you... Sorry?
I was just saying, you said a friend she has coming to visit her.
That's what she said. She was all excited about seeing this friend she hadn't seen in a while. And at the name of Cully, you watch Proclaimer Ward startle. Cully. The same name, the same one who drowned in Cradle Lace Lake.
Her friend that visited her is someone who drowned.
I know the story incredibly well. I was the one that put Cradle Lace Lake into the Awakening song.
How long ago was this?
Cully was weeks ago, maybe a couple of months. But the tragedy at Cradle Lace Lake was further than that, many, many months. It was a family, farmstead, that tragedy befell. It fell into a sinkhole. And the story goes that the residents of the house tried to escape the house, but the farm's owner, in their desperation to keep the family together, pulled them back, prevented them from escaping, and the family was killed. And when people came back to the sinkhole to see what had happened in the aftermath, all they found were 6 pairs of undead hands still trying to claw their way out of the sinkhole. That happened years ago, and that lake has been, it's not a safe place. So when Cully went swimming in it, it was a tragedy, but it was not a surprise. But if it's the same Cully, that boy's been long dead.
We need to speak to Tiana now.
Palder nods, looking very concerned, and says, well, the good news is you don't have to go too much further. They were the pact just along the way. We trade together, my group and their group. Just keep on going down. It's maybe another 20-30 minutes down the road.
Maybe we should continue on foot. I don't know if approaching in the wagon we don't know what's waiting there.
Lady Dre speaks up and says, it's probably a good idea that we don't take the wagon all the way on in, but let's at least get you to the farmstead. I want to be able to be close by in case you need to make a quick escape. Palder will lead you up the road to his farmhouse, where he very quickly kind of pulls out some water skins and to refill your water. Apologetically to Ustina, hands over, it's not a sugar cube, but it is just, when you put sugar in a bowl and maybe some tea or water drips into it, and so you just end up with like a clump of sugar. So it's not a sugar cube, but it's like a clump of sugar. Hands it on over to you.
If we're taking a break,
might lick it a little bit and then go give it to the horses.
If we're gonna sit down and take a break, I'm happy to. And I start pulling out a tea set, and so essentially, if we are taking a short rest, I can go ahead and use a song of rest. So everyone can add an extra D6.
Oh, good.
Palder will say if you would like to stay and rest up and before you continue, he's more than happy to offer you a room inside so you can rest comfortably, feed the horses, whatever it is you need.
We appreciate that.
Well, if you're trying to figure out what's going on with Kiana and her family, that's important to me. So that's a good thing. And if something's gone wrong with her and this boy that's supposed to be showing up, young man, yeah, I guess if he's dead, I don't know what he is anymore. With that, yes, Vint?
Saying,
well, I was gonna show them the drawing and just like, it seems relevant to the story, and just watch his reaction and what he thinks it represents. I mean, it seems to represent the story that he told pretty concisely. So he just watches as he hands it over.
Yeah, Palder looks at it, and it's a rough enough drawing that he recognizes the story that Proclaimer Ward just told, and it gives it a bit of a scowl, but Proclaimer Ward nods and says, that's probably what happened to Cully. If she's drawn this, they were close. If she's drawn this, I am incredibly worried about what she has gotten herself into. And it's that ominous message where we'll pause. And the next time we get together, are we going to make it all the way to the farmstead? Are we going to find out what happened to Kiana? What's going on in the fields out here? What horrible fate has befallen these farmers? We'll find out then. But first, we're going to take a little bit of a break. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on this slightly spookier adventure full of sugar cubes. I'd like to just take a moment and let our players let you know where you can find more of their awesomeness. And we'll go in the same order we did last time.
Woo, okay. It's spooky, but I like it. Hi, everybody. I'm Alicia Marie. You can find me on all socials at Alicia Marie Body. Right now, I'm annoying everyone with She-Hulk stuff. So if you go over there, just expect to see me green right now. I'm a costume artist and improv performing artist. You can find me Monday nights on Voyagers of the Jump, the Traveler RPG. We're playing with the glass cannon. On Tuesday nights, Children of Verte. It's 5e, and that's on Demiplane RPG. And of course, Fridays here. I'm really excited about how everything's turning out. So come join me on my social, see what's up.
I am Jen Kretschmer. You can find me on Twitter as @DreamWisp. You can find me streaming on Twitch as DreamWispJen. I stream on Monday nights. Tuesdays, I am on Children of Erte with some of these lovely folks. Wednesdays, I am on Vampire the Nightlife on Play Renegades channel. And then Fridays, I am here. Tomorrow, I will be playing in a game with Lauren DMing for charity. I'm sure you'll say more about that, but please come check that out. It's going to be a lot of fun. And yeah, that's that.
Hi, I'm Kelly, mostly known as the Opera Geek. You can find me on socials and Twitter at the Opera Geek. Currently, this is my only recurring D&D show currently. But next weekend is the Stream to End MS inaugural tabletop event. And I decided to actually do it. And I am DMing a game of Honey Heist, which is my first public DMing ever on Sunday, the 28th. And you can actually bid. There are 2 seats open for people to bid on. Beyond that, that's not nearly as cool as the fact that we've got some amazing players and DMs. So B. Dave Walters is also auctioning off a seat. Wandering DM auctioning off a seat. I do believe someone who is mysteriously not visible on this call is involved with the event, Brandy. And I'm trying to think, my Honey Heist game, you'll at least get to know in advance that you'll be playing with Tanya, Cypher of Tyr, and Sam DeLev. So I can guarantee you it's going to be a hot mess with me.
The best
at the
of
helm.
messes.
So yes, if you'd like to, you can go follow at Stream to End MS, and all the information is there. I really want this to be successful. It's their first time doing any tabletop event to raise money, and I want them to know that this community can be relied on.
So, well, thank you everyone for watching. My name is Mario Ortegon. I am a writer from Mexico. I've been, doing all sorts of things. Most recently, I was announced as one of the writers for the upcoming Dragonlance book that is coming later this year, and I'm pretty hyped. It's pretty awesome to be, get to be part of that universe that kind of like, brought me and set me on this path, and it's been kind of like a full circle moment. It's really epic. So keep an eye out for that. It's going to be a really awesome product. It's doing pretty unique things. I mean, D&D is experimenting in all sorts of ways these years with their formats and stuff. So other than that, I do have a couple articles in MCDM's Arcadia coming. I'm writing for their monsters book called Flea Mortals. And I am writing a couple NPCs for NeverEnding as well, for Anansi's Tapestry of Life. So I love it. Thank you for watching.
And we love it too. And I'm Lauren Urban. I've been honored to be your humble DM for this show, for these lovely people, and for all of you in chat. We did not make it to the 500 followers for this episode, so that giveaway will carry over to next week. So, tell a couple people to come on by so that you can hopefully get that giveaway next time. However, we are still doing the giveaway for the book after this game. So hang out right now and check out chat and look to be able to win a copy of the game. Thank you so much to our producers, without which I would have to produce, or someone else playing would have to produce. And that's a hard thing. It's a super hard thing. So thank you to our producers. Thank you to everyone in chat. And wherever you are in the universe, we hope we've brought you a bit of joy from the Radiant Citadel to you.